It's going to be amazing here.
To maximum power.
It was just a magical day.
I know you do that a lot.
If you put a magnet in your rotor that it's lined up.
I think it's cool.
Not some wimpy little hammer.
Hey, I wish it was this weekend.
This stuff happens.
Spencer's been like, hey, kids.
This thing's awesome. So,
welcome to That Moto Show with Dirt Bike TV's Jake Clark and producer Donnie Bales.
That Moto Show, number 30. Can you believe that?
30.
Okay. And we got a special guest. The band's back together.
The band's back together. We got Spencer.
Boys are back in town.
Picked up Spencer today. And this is also a unique show. Why? It's the first time we've ever recorded at night.
At night. I think this is the second time.
I don't think so, dude.
No, as far as with me, you guys might have done one.
I've never
moved
done.
Out of state, brother. So
I was here for quite a few.
Yeah,
this is our first one at night, and we were able to schedule this out. This is Spencer's birthday. For those that wonder, in the last show we talked about us going to a trail trip in Green River. We called an audible because of weather, and it was really wet here. I don't like leaving California when it's wet. Okay, it makes no sense, right? So called an audible, and the weather wasn't going to be that great up there. Really bad for Spencer's travel from up north there down to Green River, Moab area.
Yeah.
It was going to be really cruddy both days of travel, and it was raining in California, so it's going to be amazing here. So picked him up today, going to shoot this show, going to ride the next 2.5-ish days, do some bike work, hopefully get some bike work done too, and some filming of some stuff. We'll get some stuff done, and then get him back on a plane and back home.
Your birthday's the 15th?
14th. Pi Day.
So anyway, so March has been cool. We took a quick trip like 2 weeks ago. I was up in Utah, went up there, and we got a break in weather. It was the craziest thing in February. We got a weekend where it was just amazing, like 60 degrees. It was like 35 in the morning, but it was like 58 to 60 degrees high. And we went out by the Bonneville Salt Flats up into these mountains called the Dell. Rolled.
Is that like north or south of the 80?
It's both sides.
It's on the 80.
It's on the
80.
Okay.
And it was on the mountains kind of stuff was
west.
on the north side of the 80. And this is like, I don't know, 50 miles before Wendover.
Wendover, yeah, 50 miles or so.
Middle of nowhere. And then we went on these dry lake beds. I have a few shots of us just blitzing across. Totally fun. Just, 90 miles an hour or so.
Yeah, wide open.
My odometer wasn't working on the dual sport. I don't know why, but we fixed it. So that's a funny story.
Broke it, or
No.
it broke previous to that?
No, it
Magnet was in the wrong hole.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So so everybody thinks I'm this expert, but I only learn half or more of the stuff I've learned is from doing it wrong the first time.
Trial and error.
I'm saving a lot of other people problems in the future. So make sure if you put a magnet in your rotor that it's lined up with the pickup. So that's one thing. So really fun trip. And then the next day we rode 2 days. We rode there one day, did a bunch of miles and cut in some tracks. And then the next day we rode east of Provo and just found some wet sand. It rained like a week or two before, and got some wet sand, just carved in these cool tracks. We got some photos of us just on that dual sport that we had here that was in Dirt Bike Magazine. We had it here last show. That dual sport's awesome. Spencer's loving it, right? Mm-hmm. And I hopped on it and I was like, this thing's awesome. So pretty happy with it. It's the same as yours, except linkage, really.
Yeah.
And really happy with that bike. So it was really cool.
Mine's for clearing logs.
Yes. Yeah.
I know you do that a lot. I know you're
just
locked
full
up and
hardcore enduro cross, just wheeling over logs.
Yeah. So then I get back from there.
And K-rails.
Yep.
Yeah, so one of the comments we got in our YouTube comments is guys want us to talk more about our trail trips. So I said, fine, we've had that. I'm fine talking about them, just not on some of the more secretive ones, not necessarily mentioning where they are.
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, can you ride like literally straight from your house in Provo?
if I have a dual sport.
Yeah. Like how
Yeah.
far is like something from you to ride at?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
To get a
okay.
single track, 20 minutes.
It's still a little ways, yeah.
Yeah, it's a minute, but it's
fine.
In the old days, it was closer. And believe it or not, like 35 years ago, I went up there with a friend of mine, Dan, and he took me through right in Provo, took me right up this canyon, right? And then I come back and I'm telling Spencer, I go, man, we rode right through here. And it's a full-on hiking canyon, you know, like it's called Slate.
Yeah, it's Slate Canyon.
Slate Canyon. And I went up there and I remember it was just a magical day. I'd never really trail rode in my life. And we're on an ARM 252 stroke, like 91, 92 in there.
Sure.
Get up into the mountains and we see a bear. It's the first day of snow. It's like this October, like we get a tiny bit of snow on us. It's just a really cool day. Of course, we run out of gas. You know, I get over to the canyon.
When you see the bear, you run out of gas?
Nah, we get over to this canyon. He had a bike with a bigger tank, so he rode back, got a truck, picked me up. I sat out there. It was trail riding experiences in your 20s. You learn things, you know.
You ever seen that video on YouTube with a guy hitting the bear?
Yes.
Yeah, punching the bear on the mountainside.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of animals, in Slate Canyon, a few years back, the video of the guy getting chased by the mountain lion for hours.
Yeah.
Slate Canyon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he was
Maybe-
walking.
maybe he won't be riding there.
He was walking backwards for like an hour or two, and a mountain lion was following him the whole way to his car. So that's also by my house, which is great.
Well, we got back from that trip, and then the next week we got more rain here in California, so I got some fun tracks in, rode with Rado, got some hill tracks in, so it was pretty fun. So now let's talk Supercross. So, and he'd look up what the weather's gonna be like in Birmingham, so we can at least talk about that, because last year, remember, it rained and it was a mess.
Oh, yeah.
Bad. So as far as everything else, Webb is taking over this series. We're gonna assume that's still the case after Birmingham, and they've had this little break. They're coming back to Birmingham.
You just can't give Webb like any confidence, or just he thrives on that.
Right.
Hey, I wish it was this weekend. You know why?
Oh, it's next weekend.
Yeah, it's not this upcoming weekend.
Yeah,
because this upcoming weekend, look at that, 85% chance of thunderstorms. That would have been so cool.
It would have been rad.
So, but next weekend, next Friday doesn't say anything.
It's looking fine. Okay.
Yeah, it looks fine.
So hopefully, I guess I'd rather it not be muddy, but it is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't mind him.
Entertaining.
Right. So what have you thought of Supercross, Donnie?
Yeah, of course. It's awesome watching any racing, right? But honestly, you know my picks for our thing with GL, and I'm honestly surprised that Sexton isn't kind of pulled it together. I don't know.
Man. No,
Did you see that big old like wrap on his wrist though? It's like it's serious.
Yeah. When did he? Which one do you think he hurt that one on? No telling, right?
No telling, but it's pretty. I mean, it was a pretty thick
It could
wrap.
have been practice.
Hey, I saw when Cooper Webb won the other night, which he's been doing really good, obviously. He pulled off, he has a brace over his thumb. Have you seen that when he took it off after the race?
Yep, I saw it.
But did you see that splint he had on his thumb?
Yep.
Maybe you can see if you can find a photo of that. Like, I don't know if somebody's got a photo of it, but that's what he hurt in the off season, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so he was a little bit off the pace at the very beginning races. But and there's people saying, oh, he's not going to really be deserving of this, whatever.
I
But
hate
it's
people
such
saying that.
BS, right? Because he's beating some really good dudes. No matter what you say, you got to finish.
I
to
can't
win.
stand that ever. I never asterisk anything.
No.
Even Sexton winning over Tomac.
Right.
I wanted Sexton to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted Tomac to win, but the fact is he didn't.
Right. Right. It doesn't matter, man. Like,
Yeah.
And he's got 28 wins. He could be in the mid 30s.
Yeah.
If things continue like they are at the end of the season. He could win 3 or 4 or 5 more races. Who knows? But the way he's going, I'd love to see Sexton turn this around a bit.
Me too.
And get this back going and
But
make it more
just to
competitive.
draw even, he has to win like 5 in a row right now.
Yeah.
Well, and 250s was fun, and with that Hammaker,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and that was the East-West combined.
Yeah.
That was a tough. Where were they at for that? Indy.
Yeah.
That was an impressive ride from Hammaker.
That was really
and,
nice.
You know, I don't like to see. I mean, like, I don't know why, man. I actually feel bad, like when PC doesn't. I'm not an ultra PC fan, but I'm
Right.
like, man, he's investing in a lot of guys. And it's like I like seeing different guys winning for sure.
It's brutal, like what their season's been through. So it was really cool to see him win. Actually, just listened to a little interview with him today, and he sounds very humble and cool. And also, Justin Cooper did good in that 450. Got his first second place, I think, ever. I think.
Yeah.
And so that was really.
Did
cool.
you hear how pumped Jet was for Hammaker? I guess they ride together.
Yeah, they train.
And he was so pumped for him, which is cool to hear. You know.
Yeah, that's got to help you, right?
Yep.
All right, then on other news on overseas, we're seeing the Ducati 250, which you and I predicted they wouldn't be making.
We didn't think it would happen.
Yeah. We're pretty good at this guessing, and
I'm giving up. I give up guessing.
I think we thought that it would have been longer.
I mean, they went straight. Me and Donnie were thinking, they're just going to make the high end 450, but they're fully going at it, and they raced the Italian race, and it did fine, like a top 3
we were
finish.
wrong on the price too, because I thought for sure that price would be 17, 18 grand, and they're talking about it being just under 14.
Yeah.
Oh, what a deal!
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not going to be like 50% more than a Yamaha or whatever.
Yeah. Euro, it's 13,000, so I think that's 13.9 here.
Yep.
Okay. And The other thing is the KX450. Did you hear about this recall thing?
Oh boy,
that's a big one. And they stopped sales. Boom. Halt.
You know, my buddy. You know, this is. I'm not happy about this. Okay,
right.
But between you and me, Jim's.
Does he have one?
Cowie guy, and boy, am I sticking it to him.
Do you remember in the early '90s that? I remember there was a bunch of recalls with the Hondas.
Yep, there were. They
would have different things, and they'd stamp your frame when they fixed it.
Yep.
Different little things. That would happen. So this stuff happens. It's unfortunate. I think some of it's worse, maybe because post-COVID, who knows what's causing it.
It happened to the '84 CR250 as well. They
'84. How do you remember that far back?
I don't know. The pistons were catching the ports and they were not seizing. They were blowing up.
Grenade.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Anyway, and then hey, the last thing I got a photo here to put up. This buddy of mine sent this photo of this Kirkland oil. And it's a heavy-duty diesel oil that's Kirkland products. Kirkland is Walmart, right?
No, it's Costco.
Costco.
Never mind. Okay, Costco. I knew it was one of those house brands kind of thing. Costco. So I want, if anybody has run this oil and tested it in their bikes, I'd be curious to see. My guess is it could be similar to a Rotella.
It's probably Rotella in a Kirkland bottle.
That's what we got to see. So, and it's cheap. The guy told me it was like $10 a gallon.
Really?
Whoa.
Right. So I want to see if anybody's been running it. He's going to get some and just run it like in his kids' bikes right away to see, like in his little CRFs and stuff.
Did I ever show you the picture when me and Riley were in Walmart and I bought a couple of gallons of Rotella and he dropped one?
Oh no.
And it blew the lid off, and I mean oil, I'll have a picture, I'm going to put it up. Oil went everywhere. And I was like yelling, clean up on aisle 4. It just blew it up.
And that's a big cleanup, man, because it's like you really need some solvent or gas down to really break it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple deal. Hey, let's talk about this fancy machine behind you I just picked up today.
Oh yeah, this is a beaut.
What does Spencer think of this? I'm
pretty excited.
He found out about this today. So this is a 2025 YZ450 FX.
I want to ride this.
Yeah.
So
they get different colors.
We're looking forward to trying this thing out here. So last year we rode a different 450 off-road bike and had tons of time on it, had a good time. And I really liked it actually on a lot of the trails. I was surprised at how well it did.
I bet you this thing's going to be just straight amazing.
Right. And I have some good friends, Trevor Hunter with Dirt Bike Test. He spent a lot of time on this bike. They did the 24-hour on it last year at Glen Helen. Mm-hmm. So they got a ton of time. And then he races one in some other races and stuff. And he's got some suggestions on gearing, a couple little things so we're going to do some videos with it stock first, right at stock, do a couple of his suggestions. Going to do some tuning tool things. We want to use the tuning tool. This bike, what's nice is the FX version on the map switch stock. If you switch it to the blue map, the secondary map, it is like a detuned J map,
J map,
a little bit easier. Less one. Now, and even the higher map on this one, the stock map, isn't as gnarly as the F. Okay, so the bike is not as gnarly fast as the F. It has a wide ratio transmission. It doesn't have a 6th gear, but it has a wide ratio. Now, from what I understand, when I was asking Trevor, he says 5th gear feels pretty much like a 6th gear.
So, are the FX essentially the old WR?
No, they still sell a WR.
They still sell the WR.
Yeah. So this would
shows
be
you what I know.
So Honda has the RX, and then an X.
Okay,
so this is
in between.
And this is much more like the motocross bike. Like this stator's not going to power a headlight. Guys buy this and they want to put a headlight on it. This is not for you guys. Get the WR if you want to do a headlight. This is a bike like for the guy who's going to be doing some track and trail. Again, we probably wish there was a 350 FX, and I'm still crossing my fingers someday, but this bike's going to be, I think, pretty good. So we're looking forward to doing this initial test. We'll have a video coming out soon.
Hopefully you won't time out before the YZ350 comes out.
Thanks. We might be waiting.
My kids.
Yeah.
They'll be like,
Spencer's been like, hey, kids.
It'll be 350
New bike.
It'll be 350 kilowatts or whatever.
Right.
Probably.
Not going to be a gas one.
Did you see this thing about X Games?
No.
They will not allow an electric bike. There's some controversy that a couple people were saying like it's stupid that they won't let electric bikes compete.
So they're not going to allow what's it? Behrman does the whips and stuff.
Nope.
and
they won't allow electric bikes. They're saying.
I mean, especially here's the thing, especially for freestyle, where you can go from a dead stop to maximum power with just twisting your wrist and not like playing clutch stuff off the thing. maybe there's an argument to be made that it's unfair.
Yeah.
Is that the argument to be made?
I don't know. I just saw it today, and like a couple people were complaining about, like, why wouldn't they allow electric?
I bet they were worried about them blowing up and burning down everything. That's what
somebody else was saying that you couldn't ride was it like Faulkner was saying you couldn't ride an electric bike in Supercross really competitively because of how important the clutch is, like in the whoops.
Oh, for sure. It'll be interesting to see.
They did some clutch stuff with electric bikes they're trying to figure out, but
Pretend like a simulated clutch deal.
on the electric trials bikes, they have a clutch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. So now we are on to project bike stuff. We've been working on. We got our frames back from San Diego powder coating. I took 2 frames down there, about 50 years apart in age. 2 Husky frames. Got our 72 400, 2019 TX 300. I got some photos for you to put up. They do a great job on these frames. We did Bengal silver on all the parts. So on the vintage bike, we did the frame, the swing arm, the triple clamps. We did all that. We did a lot of pieces on it. And Norm Francis is helping us with a ton on the build. So I'm kind of getting things together. So he's a huge help on that. These frames came out really nice. So that TX 300 is the last of the carbureted 300s, and that's probably, we'll probably keep this bike I think a long time. I think Spencer will be riding this thing when it's 20 years old.
His kids will be riding it.
Right, it's gonna be that old. Yeah. So we got started on that, and I did some videos.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Are there any bikes right now that you regret getting rid of or wish you had, other than this, obviously?
I know that the TX, we had a TX 300 that was a carb TX 300, was a 2017.
Yeah.
And we sold it when we had a bunch of bikes, and then now he regrets it, which is why he picked up this one.
That's why I picked up this one. I got a good deal on this one. I sold it to this buddy named Steve, and then I see the bike the other day, and he's put on some Chingas tires, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. And he's convinced that the Dunlops were too squirrely. And I'm like, dude.
You know what you should do?
Yeah.
Moving forward, you should have contracts for everybody that buys a bike from you, that they can only like certain parts. That's all that can go on there.
He's an older guy, and his kid was with him when he bought it, and I made him understand. I said, you guys understand that you're not selling this bike. Okay, it can stay with you guys, but if you're going to sell it, it comes back to me for the same price or less.
Yeah.
Okay. So
well, now with those tires, they're definitely less.
That was the deal then. But now that I bought this, because that bike was actually a 17 or 18.
Yeah.
That was the number 15 bike. I was the first owner and the 5th owner.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. My Jim had it, and then the guy sold to another guy, and then. So I was the 1st and 5th owner. Now he's basically the 6th owner.
Is that what Jim rode when we went up to? What did he ride?
It was a long time. I don't know.
You had a carbureted.
Yeah, that was the bike.
That was that bike.
I sold it to Steve.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
So anyway, so we're getting, and I did a video on installing the piston in that thing. Tom Morgan ported the cylinder for us. We got some pictures of the cylinder and head all done. This is the first one of these bikes that we have modified the cylinder. So it'll be kind of cool to see how well this thing performs. I still think overall, I can tell you right now, 80% of the time I'm going to prefer to ride a 4-stroke. But it'll be fun to have the 2-stroke just for doing hill climb videos.
Sure.
It sounds cool, right? So more than anything, it'll be cool for that. I also did I did some videos on that, and I did some videos on switching out the carb on our Sierra 50. So I got Spencer's Sierra 50 back. I gave it to my friend Russell when his kid was born. His kid's like 13 now. So he gives it back to me, carburetor shot. So we do some videos on talking how to fix the carb. We even tried a China carb, and I don't want to be a total spoiler, but we end up having to try 3 or 4 different things.
Nice.
I think you can guess where this ended up. The fact that I had to keep trying other things.
Yeah,
so we have a cool video on that. The one thing I will tell you,
because
your XR was, I got that one fixed. It wasn't that hard at all.
I sold you one.
Yeah, the XR50.
And and then you have another one.
A CR50. They're almost identical.
When I was a kid.
They are. It's only bodywork.
Yeah, and they're only a couple. The plastic's like the same. It's just graphics.
Yeah.
And they're only like 2 years apart or something.
Right.
Yours was like the last year of anyway. And so the one thing I'll tell everybody is drain that carburetor no matter what. Drain the carburetor. And I showed that in the video.
Yep.
And then we had that V-Strom, the adventure bike. We're trying to get ready for that ride, and we got it over to Race Tech, and they had hoisted that thing up and did that. And then when it came back, Rado and I took those wheels off.
Like one of those giant 10-ton cranes to lift that thing up.
You're right. And you have a center. Do you have a center stand on your adventure bike?
Of course I do.
Okay, ours doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put it on.
You had to put it on. Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to not put it on.
Right. I think we need to work on that.
Yeah. It's sketchy without one.
So without the center stand to take the wheels off, I had like in my ceiling, I'd rigged up an eyelet hole.
Yeah.
Ran tie downs there, got a floor jack under it, and we took one wheel off at a time. Only did one wheel at a time. And those bikes have tubes. Your bike didn't have tube. It was tubeless.
Yeah.
So fun fact there. We got good Dunlops on it now. That 606.
Same as mine?
606 front. We couldn't run the same as good a rear tire. We have a Trail Max.
Oh, yeah.
Because it wasn't as good as aggressive as yours because yours is an 18-inch.
Yep.
His is a 17. It's an oddball size. So we need to look
Those things, man, up in Deadwood, they were, I'm not just saying it, they were amazing.
Right.
Like the grip on those tires, it made a big difference.
And that front helps a ton.
Oh my gosh.
So when you compare the stock front tires look like a joke compared to what we put on there. So he has a video coming out on that soon.
What else have you guys done to that thing?
Not much.
Just the suspension tires?
That's it so far. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's kind of scary. It's pretty heavy, but when I ride around, it's pretty cool. My wife wants to get some rides on it, so we're gonna practice some more when it's not raining. So the new videos we have out now, we had the KDX 200 Piston video come out, and I can't believe how many positive comments we got on that. We have a few of them coming out later, but tons of people like KDX 200 content.
It's a cool looking bike.
People like it.
I think it's cool.
So when we rode them, Spencer and I, we have a video coming out soon comparing it to the RMX 250.
Yeah.
They're both 1993s. I don't want to give it away of what happened. But on both bikes, especially the KDX, when you sit down in a saddle, so you're sitting down in there a little bit much. So it's a little hard to get standing up. It's like it wants you to sit down, which is kind of tough. So unused to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And then we
It's
have the
funny,
kicks.
I always want to sit down. So
You probably have no problem with it.
I like that bike.
Right in the 90s.
Yeah.
I trail riding is so much better standing up.
Way better,
It's
yeah.
just,
I was joking.
And I was with somebody and they were talking. A guy, he was really. It's called Moto Ventures. They're across the street from Kuya. They do training. Okay, he rode with us and myself and Rado the other day. And we were talking about Jet and how he does a lot of standing. Jet at times looks like he's trail riding, right?
Yep.
And he's in this resting, standing. So he's standing, but it's in a resting, comfortable position.
Yeah.
And I find myself now on my last trail ride, I was riding with a slower group, so I wasn't have to try as hard, but I kept myself in this neutral standing up position where I wasn't using as much energy. And I feel like it was less energy consuming other than my legs being sore at the end, but that's going to happen no matter what. You're in this good rider position and you're using less energy than if you're sitting down and getting up, sitting down and getting up. If you can stay standing in a good position where you feel comfortable, it's so much better. Of course, you need those type of flowy trails to do that, but that's what we have.
They say also not to let your knees go in front of your feet. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so your knees aren't supposed to pass your feet.
That makes sense.
So your back is straight.
You're much straighter than you think.
And you're much straighter
for that
than you
resting
think.
spot. Yeah, I'm definitely much straighter. Now, I got some cool footage here you can add in of the snow day up in the desert. And got some great footage up there. It's just so cool. Nothing beats the desert when there's some snow on it. And people think it's fake or whatever. They're like, how is this? Or they think it's not good because they're used to snow. If you're in snow in Michigan, even if it's a nice day,
totally
it's all
different.
It's all muddy underneath or icy spots. This is like golden magic
we have
dust.
super, super dry snow.
Right.
And that makes
Yes.
a big difference.
And the dirt is sand.
Right.
And you're right, it is dry snow because when it's melting, it's hardly making the trails muddy.
Yeah, no, it's really dry.
So it's really cool.
It's evaporating as much as it's melting.
Yes. It's so incredible. So yeah, that's a good thought. I didn't realize that. So, all right, YouTube, let's get into some comments, Spence.
Comments? Maybe comments or questions?
Yeah, comments.
Comments, okay. Let me whip out my phone here.
Oh, we got comments here?
We got
These
comments
the same?
there. They are the same. Okay, Colton.
You can just look right
That's
here.
true.
It's bigger.
I like it close to me, so I think I can be in the mic.
Okay, gotcha.
Colton, but you can follow along. Colton says, many years ago, this was posted. These are my two dream bikes. Wondering if you guys still have them, and would you be able to give them away? So this was on CRF 250RX and CRF 250R video, and I believe it was a 2018 or 2019 that these videos were on.
It was old.
Yeah.
But either way, the guy just wants a free bike. So anyway,
Praying hands.
Well played. Did he have praying hands on there?
No. But that could have. If he put the emoji, it would have been please free bike.
So I always joke around. Like if somebody says something, and I go, man, I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm just not that nice. All right, what's next?
Matthew says, what are the recommended jets for stock on the YZ250 to make it sound crisp and clean?
Okay, crisp and clean is really easy. You just run the Pro Circuit jetting specs for your bike. It's so easy. And those YZ250s are so good. If they don't sound like that, I would check your oil mix. That you're not, maybe you're running a real dirty oil. You can email us, but those things just sound perfect. I love YZ250 two-stroke sound. I like the sound of them better than riding them because, vibration and everything.
Yep.
And I'm not tough enough. So there we go.
Kaiser says, search through your videos online of rebuilds and don't see one where you have a difficult or stuck swing arm bolt. Requesting that video.
Okay, so unfortunately, that video, we did have one, I think, in Instagram. It's so hard to find that stuff in Instagram. So I will give you some tips. If you have a axle, which we've had done, a front axle, a rear axle, a swing arm pivot, a linkage, if a bolt is stuck, the first thing you do is lay the bike on its side with the nut off, so you're going to hit it out from that side. With the bike all the way down on the ground, the bars are down touching the ground. Okay, so the bike is resting on the ground. Now it's firm. If you're on a stand trying to hit it or do anything, it has nowhere to go. Then I would get some, hey Donnie, we got that, let me grab it real quick. Okay, we're back. Got some PB Blaster. So the thing I would do is lay, and this leads right into these other fine products that are all power sports related from Blaster Products. This company, which we've all seen for like 80 years, makes now power sports products. So hopefully you'll be able to find these things soon. We got some great stuff, chain lubes and all that, but PB Blaster will soak, and it's a penetrating lube. So first lay it down at the side, soak it into those spots. That's the first thing. Okay. Then next, this usually just that letting it soak for a little bit will accomplish a lot. Okay. 15, 20 minutes. Try that first. And then if you're struggling, you can do it overnight, come back the next day. Then you want to get a piece of brass or aluminum and a really strong, good sledge. I like to use a hammer. I mean, not some wimpy little hammer, but a legit hammer, and put gloves on because you got like a 50% chance of hitting your hand.
Whacking your knuckles.
Right, if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
So get a good grip. I like to use a piece of brass. That thing gets all mushroomed out. Okay, so you want to get it just to move that first half an inch. If you can get it to move that little bit, you're good. Okay, and you're trying to hopefully save the bolt. Okay, some people will keep the nut on there and hit it first. The problem with that is if it's really stuck, that nut's going to push on those threads and just ruin the threads, and then you're gonna have a hard time getting the nut off, and it's a whole disaster.
And definitely do not do what a lot of people do, which is put a punch in the hole that you're trying, because we've had problems where they get the axle or whatever it was out, but then there's a punch that has expanded
and it won't get all the way through because
and it won't come out. The punch won't come out because it expanded the steel and is now lodged in there. So
that's why he brings up a really good point. We've many times gotten a screwdriver or a punch stuck in the ID of whatever said bolt it is.
Cut the punch off, and
we've done all kinds of stuff.
Cut the punch and leave it in.
Part of the bike now.
Yep.
Yeah. So Brad's actually had some over the years when Brad was doing a bunch of bikes over there. He had some they actually had to cut off.
Wow.
Ruin a swing arm, cut it. They just cut. There was no chance. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't ever let that happen, and that's why you grease your stuff. But if you have one that's stuck, I'm telling you, 90% of the time, if it's stuck, you can get it out by laying it down with a good solid hit with some soaking it. You can get it to break loose, and then get yourself like an 8 or 10 T-handle with something and then you can hit it through, and it's not going to go inside like Spencer said with a punch. So that's a common problem with older bikes, and sometimes they can just be 5 or 8 years old, or guys that don't grease anything. We had a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but a friend of ours didn't grease the front axle, and I spent on a
say his name.
No, don't. Okay. I spent like a half a day on a front axle, getting a front axle out. I ended up getting the fork off.
How happy were you? I know you're in the shop. Like, how happy were you about this?
No, dude.
Yeah.
No. I haven't got time for that. Okay.
Right. No, I understand.
These are times we could be riding dirt bikes instead of working on them. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. If you got something stuck, lay it on its side is key number one. All right.
Okay, next one. This one's from Rob. He says, for a guy as cool as Donnie, you've got to tell us about the ticket. I got a ticket on my riding trip in Moab for riding down Main Street on my not legal 300 two-stroke. So we need to hear the story.
Okay, so first of all, in Moab, you need to be cool. Like in town, there's all these razors making all kinds of noise, and that's really what's ruining Moab for off-roaders is these razors. Okay,
Well, it's not the razor. It's the razor driver attitude.
and
And the exhaust.
and the exhaust on them is so gnarly. Just
Anybody that should run, they should all be running stock exhaust.
Yeah, so they're just obnoxiously
anyway.
loud. So the ticket was, we stopped in St. George at Rocky Mountain shop to, I had to do some paperwork for a bike I bought there.
Yep.
Okay, for one of those new dual sports. I'm guiding Donnie. I'm like, hey, let's go up here. And I'm following the map, and it's telling us.
Your dad and I are similar type drivers. We kind of have the same
aggressive
MO
Right. So
in
it's-
terms
I'm
of moving along.
So the map is telling us to go through this light and go up to the next on-ramp. But I look over and I'm like, there's an on-ramp right here. Okay.
And it's wide open.
Wide open.
There wasn't no signage.
Nothing.
Okay,
Nothing
there were some
blocking the
cones
road,
on the
nothing.
side and some orange things. But then we go under the freeway, and I go, yeah, right there. And now there is some cones, but they are not in the lane. They are completely out of the lane. We go up the on-ramp.
They're not even close to the lane.
Not even close. Okay, we go up the on-ramp, and we're up there for 5 seconds, if that, and there's a cop pulling us over.
Yeah.
Total entrapment, dude. No joke. Highway patrol guy up there.
There's no doubt he was waiting on that closed exit.
He was waiting and just
Absolutely.
whoop, like. So we, argued with him. It was. I was just beside myself. He was really going to give us a ticket for this thing that was entrapment, So then we circled back after we got our ticket. Circled back and went back, and he was there waiting for us, yelling at us.
He was yelling at us
Yes.
to not shoot photos.
Yeah, like,
I was there
keep
shooting
moving.
photos and stuff. So luckily
He was like, I'm going to give you another ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And we're stopped shooting photos, and he's also stopped in the opposite lane. So
Yeah.
he's basically
Yelling at you.
yelling at us,
Yeah.
stopping traffic, and we're not stopping any traffic.
it was a disaster. And then we drove to that. I was fired up.
We went to the Highway Patrol Station.
We went to the Highway Patrol Station. No one
about
was
this.
there.
Wait, this was a weekday, and the Highway Patrol Station was closed.
Ghost town. Anyway, Utah stuff. So anyway, luckily
Beehive
we're
State.
not gonna. We had a friend who works for a different law enforcement agency call. He talked some reason to the guy and got it out. We could have gone and fought it because we had dash cam. Donnie had the dash cam on,
Yeah.
and we showed the dash cam to this friend of ours who's in law enforcement. And he's like, we showed him the dash cam footage. And showed him the photos. No one could believe it. But this guy just...
The guy came in hot.
He was
first.
mad.
So
Like-
when we're getting he walks up, starts yelling at us. What are you thinking? Why are you driving up this? What are you doing? This is for emergency vehicles or police cars. Like, he doesn't come in and go, hey, like, did you not see the cone? Just comes in hot. And then Jay here goes back hot.
I know my father.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So for a while there, I was worried we were going to get arrested, or at least I was, and then not be able to finish the ride trip, that we were doing. So when we caught us back there taking photos, Donnie's like, "Hey, let's just go." Like he's obviously fired
Donnie's
up.
worried about getting his van impounded.
So we got it fixed though. So luckily we didn't have to
The
do
donut
anything.
shop was probably closed. That's why he was so mad that day.
Yeah. The guy was definitely, and he was one of those. Yeah, I hate to stereotype, but he maybe looked like 5'5", very angry little person.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and
Yeah.
so we shouldn't have to deal with him again. And our experience there has been really good, and the speed limits are pretty high in
Yeah.
Utah, so we don't have much of a problem. Knock on wood, we're pretty good. And the speed limit is pretty much higher than the rev limit on my Sprinter, because my
Yeah.
Sprinter can only go 81 or 82.
Yeah.
and the speed limit's like 80.
Mine does 86.
Right, show off. Okay, so I don't think I should be going any faster
No
than
way,
80,
dude.
81.
I've driven his van at 82.
I run mine on the rev limiter the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got?
This is from
Thanks,
Red.
Rob, for
thank
telling
you,
me I'm
Rob.
so cool.
This is from Red. He says it's not stupid if it works, or if it snaps off, it's stupid. This is about the lever bending trick with a wrench to fix a bent lever on a bike.
Okay, hey, will you send Donnie a link to that Instagram?
Yeah.
Hey, you know
Post-
something?
I'll send it to him.
That's the way we had to do it in the 80s because we couldn't afford levers.
Right. And it was just like, what are you going to do? You're going to bend it back.
You're gonna bend it back.
When you have a lever on a bike and it's bent like this, if you put a wrench on it, the box end of the wrench, and you twist it, you're not putting any pressure on the perch. You don't want to break the the master cylinder, or in this case, if it's a clutch perch, you want to break that, or the hydraulic part, you don't want to break that. But if you bend it just right, you're not putting any pressure. People go, you should put it in the vise. It's like,
no,
man, I think it's safer right where it's at, and bend it, and you're putting pressure only on the lever. So we have a good video showing that. We did on Cody Suzuki. He comes in after practice, and you can see it's pretty muddy, and he has that.
Hey, I fell on my mountain bike the other day and bent my lever. Did the same thing.
Same thing. All
same
right.
thing.
Probably only like a 14 millimeter wrench or something.
Yeah, it was like a 12 got over it because it doesn't have a ball in the end.
Okay, so it's really small. I had to use like a 21 or some 22 millimeter wrench.
I used one of the the longer ones so that I could get more like control over it, and then I just bent it back.
And you got it sweet.
Oh yeah.
All right. What do you got, Spence?
Andre says a smart guy on these here YouTubes said it's easier to add than to remove. Jay, this is a cool method to remove some, way nicer than something I could have come up with. So this is a tool.
Right here. So my friend Scott Bennett told me about this. We were playing with fuel level in the CR. We've been messing with the suspension on the CRF 250. And
oil level.
What you got right here, with the oil level, adding and removing oil. What you got right here is a main jet. And I just buffed it off a little bit, made it a little bit more round, so I just heated up the hose and pushed it on there, and it fits right in our little syringe here. And you could just pull out. I got a video that's here that you can kind of put in there, and you can see that you could just suck out right exactly to where you want to be. And you have to have the fork off to pull oil out. So and it helps if you have somebody else, or you could put it in a vise. And you could hook that up. Sorry, this is going right in the air bleeder hole, for those that don't know. So it's the same threads as the air bleeder on most bikes. I'm not sure about the KTMs, but I think it is. I know, so in the Honda and Yamaha and all those, it's the same. So right there. Really cool, easy tool you can make. Believe it or not, it was a lot of comments about guys who were pretty stoked to learn that one. I just learned it recently, so it was kind of cool.
Well, it's amazing because you're not getting any dirt in there when you're doing this.
No, and not losing. And you get way more accurate. I've seen people do it, and it's just kind of a guesstimation.
Yeah.
Like they're not getting, so we're getting pretty accurate. And then I added, so I took like 15 out, and then I added back 5 on the race day and got it back a little bit. It seemed to help. So that was a really cool little tool where you can do yourself.
That's awesome.
For adding and removing oil out of the forks.
Super awesome.
That's awesome. House says great editing, or great review and video as always. Fast-paced editing and info. That's on our 250FX review.
Oh, good job, Spencer.
Yeah.
Talking about you. And so we're going to do
job,
this.
Spencer.
Thank you.
Yeah, so great video. If you haven't seen that, go check out that video. Make a note to have a picture of that.
Hey, you know what?
Thumbnail.
I absolutely love Spencer videos.
I bet you do.
They're the best. By far.
Yeah. I love them too.
You're my favorite editor.
I know.
Spencer.
It's 133% less work for you.
Yeah.
Okay, way less work. Another video that I edited is on the must-know dirt bike hacks and tips.
Yeah.
House, the same guy, says, so great, thank you.
Yeah, so this video, again, I talk about this one every show. If you have somebody that hasn't watched this video yet, go check out our 125 hacks and tips and tricks. And we have a new video coming out. What's it called, Spence?
133 things. That's basically it.
A little bit different than the other one because it had a lot more shop tips. This one is just going over every part of a dirt bike. We actually haven't counted the number of tips. I just thought it'd be cool to call it 133.
133 makes sense.
It could be higher, but it's 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's a long video, and he's been putting it together a little bit, but it's looking pretty cool. So we just talk about every aspect of a dirt bike, from tires, tubes, forks, bars, levers, filters, oil changes, clutches, everything. We touch on everything and what to do, what try not to do, and greasing and everything that you should do to your bike. So that one's coming out soon. All right.
Chummy says, haha, just gotta say I love when Spencer runs the overalls out in the shop. Dude pulls them off.
Yes.
Thank you.
You know what's so funny? I was going to say, no overalls today?
Well, I just got off the plane. And so I don't wear them on the plane.
No Oshkosh Bagosh on the plane?
No.
Okay.
No. But I do have them here, and I will wear them tomorrow when we go ride.
Nice.
This is from Single Track Mind. It says, perfect timing, getting ready to do a top end for the first time on my 03 KDX 220. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so we got that KDX 200 video.
Yeah.
So again, these guys are like a little cult, these KDX 200.
I don't remember them bumping up to a 220.
Yeah, they did for a few years at the end.
Wow.
Wasn't there a 250 KDX as well?
But there was, that was like in the 70s,
That-
early
back,
80s.
back before they had the
Yeah.
220.
So then when
they
they
had a
came
250 KDX.
yeah, so they came in this, and I think if they got that KDX to a 250, it would have been a lot better. But
Oh, it
anyway,
would've probably been
we don't
amazing.
want to give away our video about comparing it to the RMX. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, maybe for Cowie 2-strokes, we'll get a
Yeah.
300.
Did we talk about that last time? About there's Cowie
Yeah,
2-strokes?
we
coming?
mentioned it.
Okay.
I thought we did in one of the.
So the
in
word
one of
I
the
heard
episodes.
is 125, 250, 300.
That's what I heard.
Motocross and a cross-country version of the
I
300.
heard 125's coming first.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's a great idea because I think 125s are great for kids to learn on. Spencer, I feel like, it was helped him a ton, Did I tell you how he had to earn a 250F?
Yeah, you've definitely told us on the podcast before.
You
too.
sure?
Guaranteed.
So I had a 14, so it was around
It was 2014, yeah.
Yeah, I had like a 14 CRF 250R, and it got like 2 dents in the swing arm.
Gouges.
He kept hitting me, dude, because I made a deal that he had to pass
I
me.
remember that.
At Kauai on the main track.
He had to pass me before he could get on 250F.
Because on hill tracks it didn't count because I was faster than him, faster on hill tracks, but then on like Kauai and stuff like that.
No, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is funny, not a side note, but it's, along the same vein. I remember us doing an off-road video on Spencer's 85 or
Super
whatever.
Mini, yeah.
Super Mini.
Super Mini, yeah.
And that's the first time I really saw you ride because you didn't really ride that much before. I mean, you rode, but not really.
Not till like 12.
Yeah, like you weren't into it.
Yeah, not till I was like 10,
And we
12
went out to one of your places and we shot that video out there.
Yeah, and for whatever it's worth, I think I didn't push it a ton for multiple reasons, but
Yep.
it was a whole lot better riding without him when you
Yeah.
got a little kid on a 50 or
Sure.
70. So we would take him, my buddy Jim and I would take him and his son Ty, we'd set them up with the 50s or 70s. We'd set them up, right? And leave. Go on
Yeah.
a trail ride. We go on a trail ride for like an hour, come back, and they're good, but they just pretty much, we get back, they'd just be eating snacks.
Hey, but having a son like this, riding and not riding, it's a bit like having a puppy because they're a lot of work at the beginning, but now he's doing a lot more for you
Yeah.
than you have to do for him.
Yeah, all right.
And then when he gets old and gray, I'll have to be there because I have no other choice.
Right.
He's got an FX to ride behind you. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Boom.
Hey, I remember when you guys were all about Spencer is not allowed to ride a 450 forever.
Right. Is our guy here?
Yes, and I got in 450 shape in multiple ways, which really helps ride a 450.
All right, we just had our special guest show up, so we'll get to that in just a second. So let's go, Spence.
All right, Sandy says, as a proud owner of 4 KDXs, I think you should have pointed out the nut on the power valve arm is reverse threads. So many people break it off, and it's a hard part to replace. Ride safe, my 2-wheeled friends.
So we had a couple comments on that, on the power valve. And first of all, the reason I didn't mess with anything is because it was all good, and none of those power valve parts are available stock. So and they're pieces that break. So if everything worked, I'm like, don't touch it. Like
Right.
when you're dealing with 40-year-old, yeah, how old's that thing? Like 40 years old,
30.
whatever. So
It's 42?
No, it's
32.
Okay, 30. Yeah, 32.
32.
yeah, 32-year-old bikes. Don't mess with stuff that's not available. If you break it, you're gonna be bummed. So don't touch any of that stuff. All right, that's why.
Yeah,
But he's also hogging all the KDXs. If he's got 4 of them,
having 4 KDXs is kind of insane, but Jay doesn't think that this bike is worth doing a full project on, and I still don't think I'm going to be able to convince him to do a full project. But because he's like, I'll never be able to sell it for enough, and I'm like, there's people who love these silly
No,
bikes.
but
Yeah, but here's the other
we're
problem.
gonna put like $4 or $5 grand into it, and it's gonna
Right.
go up in $500 in value.
Right.
you could still sell it for like 6.
Well, here's
No,
the problem.
no.
Say
Comment below if you would buy a built KDX 200.
There's no one buying it for
$6 grand.
There's no one buying it.
If I have a seller, I'll build it.
but you get into building this bike and say you're 3/4 of the way through and you break something you can't replace.
Right.
That's worse than the money aspect.
eBay.
eBay. Okay.
eBay. This is from Lee. This is our So Much Blast of Air video. He says, "Wow, thanks. Got this when it went to fire up this year, and not looking forward to ripping it out. I will try this, and if it works, I'll put some seafoam in. This is for
So when you have a stuck needle seat, a lot of times you can just squirt air right into the fuel line going into the carburetor. It can break that little needle seat loose, and I say when we do it, it's 60-70% of the time it fixes it. It needs to break loose, and you don't have to take your bowl off and mess with it. So good little trick if you got the carb that's been sitting for a little bit. Again, drain your carb though.
Yep.
Hold on. I like this one.
You like this one?
I
Okay.
like this, yeah. Wait, did the dream killer come back to the dark side? I'm proud of you, Jay, for keeping the dream alive. This is on the KDX 200. This is funny because I didn't think about this. You are a dream killer, but yet you're in the realm of somebody's dream here.
We just happened to come across this KDX 200 from your buddy.
Yeah.
And then I got from my other guy, I got this RMX. So we are now this little race team of 93, enduros.
I respond to that comment, by the way. Did you see what I said to that comment?
No.
I said, haha, yeah, usually Jay is still a dream killer, but this is the only work this bike's going to get. That's what I said to the comment. I responded to the comment and said, that's all this bike's getting.
I got chain and sprockets set up.
Well, yeah,
because we
I
need to
mean-
get it like Sano. So
Do seat cover?
I don't know about that. I wanted bleed
seat-
brakes.
Here's the thing, the stock seat, well, it's not very good for grabbing. It looks cool.
Yeah, it does
Okay.
look cool.
It does look cool because it's got the Cowie logo on the
yeah,
side.
yeah.
All right.
But last YouTube comment, user, that's all it says. User says, I love that drill. I have one and it's funny. You can wake up and go to social media and find out you're lame because you're using the wrong brand of tool.
Yeah. So I'm not a professional. So when you get professionals who use, who are working with, tools every day, power tools and stuff. So they make fun of my DeWalt or my, what's that, Ryobi?
Ryobi, yeah.
Yeah. So they make fun of it. It's like, it's not a cool, I'm like, for what, as little as I use it, once or twice a week, it works just fine.
You don't know what brand I've stuck to, do you?
Right. and that's not a cool one.
Take a photo for it.
That's not a cool one by the guy's standards.
No, I know. It's Milwaukee's
Milwaukee's
the
the
only
only one that's
Yeah.
like Snap-on,
It's so
like-
funny because my buddy Jim is all Milwaukee, and then I found 2 videos of Milwaukee drills just getting smoked.
By the other brands. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, do you see when they do them head to head?
The head to head.
Yeah, but I've also seen them literally catching on fire.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So
They
it's
do that
like,
too.
okay.
All right. All right. Fun. Good job, Spence. So,
Is it special guest time?
are we getting? Well, first, I got a couple other things to go. We already talked about this. I want to talk about. So we already talked about Blaster, the new Tech 10s. My guest, and he noticed these straight away because he's a huge Alpine Star fan.
Bring
And
him in frame more.
These are
Set 'em in
Tech
front of you.
10s, but they're Enduro Tech 10s. So the Tech 10s, which we love, but this is the Enduro, so it's a little bit heavier duty, a little bit different on the sole. So we're going to report back and see how well these hold up to our off-roading conditions.
Do they have the same booty configuration?
Yeah, it's all the same inside.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's pretty cool. So as far as our big trips upcoming, okay, our big trips upcoming. We have that adventure ride at the end of the month.
Yep.
That's looking like with Rocky Mountain in Mesquite.
Yeah.
St. George Mesquite area is that ride, and then later in April we have the early in April we're going to try to do another Green River Moab area ride. We're going to try. So that's our hope.
What do you call early?
Like the second week.
I'm
'Cause
going
it
to be
can't-
in the land of paradise that week.
No, you're going on the 20th.
No.
When that's what I was going to get to. The 2-stroke race is the 18th to 20th.
I'm saying I'm going to, on that second week in April, I'm going to be,
Because you're gone.
yeah.
No, you got the dates wrong. Because you're saying the 2-stroke race is like the 18th to the 20th range. That's when ACDC is going to be at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And Spencer just invited himself.
Oh, nice.
He wanted to come in for the
Are you
2-stroke
gonna be
race.
there?
I'm going to be
He's-
in another state.
I see.
One you can only fly to.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there. But so the weekend before that, maybe we go to, because you're not going 2 weekends, right?
11th to the 18th.
11 to the 18th, the 7 days. Okay, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Map
maybe we go before that.
Okay.
You're
So-
missing ACDC.
He told me after somebody had already booked this, or I would have told my wife.
All right.
No paradise. We're going to ACDC.
So we got the big 2-stroke race in late April. So that's pretty cool. And we kind of glossed over that this is show number 30.
Show number 30.
Who do you remember as being 30s
I mean, Joe Shimoda right now.
right now? And before that, Spencer was reading a few off on the drive here, and they were all older, because honestly, this list was built in 08. He's looking at this.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
Andy boy. So it doesn't really help us a lot. Can you think of any?
Oh.
30s in the last few years. It wasn't Anderson or
Our special guest's boss,
Hey, wasn't Brock Sellers number 30? Or he was 32?
Roger. Yeah. Roger DeCoster.
Yeah, but no one's
had
gonna.
30.
But he was number one most of the time.
Well, yeah. Casey Lytle, James Stewart, even for a little
I
bit.
couldn't even remember Stewart being 30.
Scott Sheik.
In Loretta Lynn's.
Scott Sheik was 29.
And 2002. So
So anyway, so not a lot of 30s,
Not a
but
ton.
on the way here tonight. So like, or no, did we do it right before we left, right? Or did I do it on the way here? On the way here, I texted.
It was on the way here when we texted our
This
special
came
guest.
to me that I need to text my favorite number 30.
Favorite number 30.
And this show is going to come out basically during Irish, what do they call that thing?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day time frame. So we're going to bring in David O'Connor. And this was probably one of our most popular shows because David used to work with, he works at Husqvarna officially, right? Okay, Build Ninja. So we're going to bring David in. He's number 30. Let's bring him in right now. All right, check this out. I said, and I gave him, he writes back like something smart, like no notice, you know. Look, he's having to bend around because he can't see me. So I complained about this earlier.
Yeah.
What, say that I should move over?
No, you're fine.
no,
You're fine.
Yeah, the last time I was on that side.
I didn't give Donnie any notice either.
Hey.
I'm like, he didn't set up a mic.
Hey, do you know what the difference between an Irish wedding and an Irish funeral is?
One less person.
One less drunk.
One less drunk. One less person.
Because a person and a drunk is the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
In Ireland, it's the same thing.
So David shows up with his green sweatshirt on.
Yep.
St. Patrick's Day edition.
Yes, and I had him bring his number plate. I said, "Hey, do you have a number plate? Bring." So I texted him, "Bring a number 30."
Yeah.
So he's our favorite number 30. We're going to be racing at the two-stroke race, and I texted him the other day, and he says we can share a bike. And I said, "Okay, I'll get some graphics made, some backgrounds, and I'll make it. Will be 30-33.
Oh, yeah.
It'll look like an off-road number, and he hates anything off-road because he's really
that's too many digits.
right.
Yeah,
We're gonna be like a 4-digit number. It's gonna be 30-33.
Feels like he's going to be in the C practice.
Some lead or whatever as well.
Yeah, 30-33G, like X.
Yeah. He feels like he's in the C practice.
Right. So anyway, David, you had a good win the other day.
Yeah, it was nice.
Tell us about the engine building. How that's going.
Real good. So the season kind of got off to a bad start. You also RJ gets stuck upside down on the tough block, which was a frustrating night. I was actually out of the Mammoth qualifier at Glen Helen. We're camped out, had a bunch of buddies watching, so it was just like, no. So he got going, took him a long time and got going. So then as the season went, we got better, and then got a win, which was putting us back in the points hunt.
Hey,
again.
but you got the best win. Is that your actual motor in that bike in Daytona?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
That's
So
pretty
basically, you won Daytona.
I don't know about that. I give him the same engine each week. It's all down to RJ what he does.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also support the Gas team as well. So early season, DeFrancisco was doing really good. The West Coast, but had an off season, or not an off season, a practice crash. Same with Casey Cochran. So I'm kind of just getting geared up, getting everything ready for them. Hopefully by the time outdoors or possibly some Supercross, we'll be back in action. Yeah. So
Okay, stay close to that mic.
You can scoot over closer to me and
Okay.
then look
Yeah,
in
I couldn't
between.
see Jay.
Yeah, look in between. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so you enjoy building these things because you're pretty meticulous.
Yeah.
You know, as far as detail.
We had tours like through KTM today, and people were just looking at, like, all of us in the department. You got to be meticulous. Everything's laid out. You know, like it's like a jigsaw puzzle. When you get done at the end, if there's any parts left over, you failed.
I don't think you ever have any parts left over.
No, never any parts left over. Yeah.
So, and knock on wood, you just can't afford a failure. You know, like
No, so that's the thing. Like, even when you were asking me some questions and I'm working, I won't reply till lunch break or after. You're kind of phone away, head down, concentrating on what's going on. It's like a pretty like dedicated, like, to focus what you're doing.
Do some guys listen to music while they're doing it? Like
We have a radio going in there, but like sometimes you're just kind of like in the zone. Yeah.
So it's a pretty good atmosphere. It seems pretty good. Obviously we know there's been some hiccups at KTM Group.
Yes.
Is morale seeming pretty good with
So
some
with the
Supercross?
good news, with everything like getting released 2 weeks ago with the investors and everything, now the atmosphere is back happy again. It was definitely a little worrying for a while. So now we're back happy again and doing good at racing. So back on track. Yeah.
I obviously we hope we hope that we need everybody to be doing well.
Yes.
And then the little mistakes were made. I don't know about little mistakes. Maybe little mistakes is when your wife buys a few too many shoes, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So this was maybe
Or else
big.
too many dirt bikes. Yeah.
Too many. So this was a little bit bigger mistakes.
Yeah.
But we need KTM and whatever brands they can keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole industry, like all the aftermarket supplying parts, that we all depend on her. Yeah.
Well, and I tell you what, in the off-road dual sport community, it is.
Yeah.
Man, it has taken over. I mean, as far as KTM brands from like 2016 to now, they just own it. You can look at some cross country races, and it's rows. I get guys sent me some pictures in like Texas or something.
It looks like it's a KTM only event.
Right, and then you might
like the Yamaha Blue Crew when it's coming up at Glen Helen. The off-road races are KTM.
I have a KTM only event here.
Yes.
Yeah. So what? So overall, spirits are good, and everything's looking good, which is awesome. So we're hoping that continues. I mean, we're guessing there's probably going to be some changes in racing next year. So hopefully, I like the red bikes, and so what I'm thinking is that KTM should just change to red.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's the new hot Ferrari color?
Like K gas or something. I don't know, man. K gas.
It's all up in the air. None of us will know till we get through this season. The goal is to win some championships this year.
So you don't have any say?
No, I got no say whatsoever. I'm the guy in the corner. Yeah,
but it's a pretty fun deal. Like I'm guessing
No, it is. So that's the thing. Like Saturdays, Donnie, when Jay is off, like doing whatever he does, every West Coast race, who'd I bump into? Donnie. Donnie's like me. He loves to go to races when we're in town, and like that's not even my job. My job is Monday to Friday to support the team, get everything ready. Stuff gets shipped in and out. But if there's a race close enough for me, I'm there. Like Donnie. We're super fans. We like to go and watch the sport.
Hey, one thing, and if you can't talk about it, just say you can't talk about it. But on engines, what's kind of cool is after you build one, everyone's dynoed.
Yes.
So how cool is that? Like, a lot of people don't realize that. But like, how much time do you put on it?
So we'll do heat cycles. So kind of take it easy the first 15 minutes, go in, let the fans blow on it, cool down. So you're pretty much doing like when you're breaking a bike in, expand the rings and then let them contract again. So just heat cycles is the main thing. And then towards the end, you're doing power runs and making sure your torque and peak is what you need to be. So once you see that, you're like, perfect. All right, this one's good to ship. The clutch is broken in. You've gone through the gears. So
you drain the oil?
Drain the oil and then gets shipped in a Pelican case out to the race. So when they put it in, so the mechanics will usually build on a Sunday after the race. So engine gets pulled out, they can put it in, and then straight to practice, it's broken in already.
Are you dynoing them, or is there somebody else doing it?
No, we dyno them. So
no, but you personally dyno your own motors and
yes.
Okay, yeah.
So if you ever saw like videos, or like Jay's been there or got a tour around, everybody has their own chassis.
Yeah.
So like we'll go out and put the engine in the bike, run it. And
they have a bike that just sits there on the dyno.
Yeah.
And it's just like the dyno bike.
It's like a race bike. I keep telling the guys I want to put a knobby tire on it and bring it home. It's so nice. I got factory brakes, titanium.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like just leftover parts from
it doesn't even need any of that stuff on it.
That's how I keep telling them I want to take it home and ride it. It's so nice.
So it's pretty cool that they can
They're
show
like,
up.
why didn't this motor get shipped this week and the dyno bike is gone?
That is one of my goals. I've asked the crew chief and my boss, Leighton, a few times. I was like, when Outdoors is in town, if they're out at Glen Helen, I don't want to go to Paul. I can't do any jumps. I would love to rip a factory 250 around Glen Helen.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can convince somebody to do it someday. I've ridden like a lot of bikes throughout my life, but I'd really like to do what the package we have now is incredible on the dyno.
That would be
so I'd love to.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would support this.
Many years
decision.
ago, I got to ride. So Tom White was out at Milestone. He wasn't doing too good. Like he was doing pretty bad with his cancer. So Don Maeda was out actually testing Zach Osborne's championship winning bike. I think it was a 2015 or 16. So Tom was parked with us. We're all riding. So he's like, Tom, get your gear on and ride it. So then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, Don, I got my gear too. He's like, go for it. So around Milestone Vet Track, ripped around Zach Osborne's bike, and that was like a dream come true.
Wow.
So think of it, now it's almost like 10 years later how much that same bike has developed.
Sure.
So I'd love to get a lap or two.
I would love to.
I hope I can have it. If you guys see it, put in the comments. Let Dave ride a factory 250.
Let Dave ride.
let Dave and Jay
we'll
ride.
get T-shirts and fundraisers, bribe some people.
Dave and Jay.
Yeah, that'd be a fun
Jay's
day, Jay.
Jay's inserted himself in there. You hear that?
No, I want to try that out.
No, we all do.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. All right, and then you just raced this last weekend. There was a race, and there was a little bit of a memorial.
Yes,
for Dave Feeney.
Yep, Zach's championship mechanic.
He was the mechanic for Zach when he won a few he won the outdoor. He won the 250 Supercross one. He won outdoor 450.
Yep.
He won a bunch of races with him. And Dave was a really cool dude.
Really cool. That's why I spent a lot of weekends out there racing with him when he had off weekends. We'd go to Elsinore and ride. So as soon as it got announced it was a Dave Feeney Memorial race, I'm like, yep, I mean, I got to support this race. Yeah.
And
so hopefully it's an annual thing and we'll remember Dave every year. Yeah.
His wife's always out there supporting.
She's out racing the whole time. She loves it. Even when Dave was doing Supercross, she's loading up and going racing while he's at a race. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I got to line up beside Mr. Brownfield, dirt bike TV racer. Yeah. He was about 10 seconds a lap faster, so I got some work to do.
He rips, man.
He really does. The 450 is the worst thing you ever gave him because we lined up on the gate and I'm pretty good start. I'm like, yeah, I think I can get Cody. I'm like, not a hope when he's on a 450 now.
Right, yeah.
Whereas a 250, I'd always be ahead of him in first turns and then he'd come blitzing by me. Yeah.
Yeah, he's loving the 450. So that bike's been pretty
He's riding
good.
it really good, and you were always scared to give him one for years, and Cody's after mellowing out now. He's a steady, consistent rider. Yeah.
So, guys get on me, but I do care about at least my people.
Yes, yeah.
But so we got somebody, he was riding a YZ 252 stroke and was crashing all the time. So then I'm like, hey, let's get you on a 250F. Rode a 250F for a couple years, paid his dues, so to speak, cut down on the
poor
crashing.
bike. He rode the wheels off it every weekend, racing 450s.
Just chasing 450s because he could be faster than the guy in front of him, but he's just getting ruined.
Glen Helen when it's deep and loamy up hills, the poor 250 was bouncing valves trying to keep up.
And it's just covered in roost. The bike is just all pitted up. So anyway, are you going to Mammoth this year?
Yes, so that's what I did a couple of weekends ago. I did the Mammoth qualifier, so I got my entry spot and booked a campsite at Sherwin Creek. So we're all systems go. Yeah.
So those that don't know, if you didn't watch the show, we should. And that's
episode 11. Yep. So
episode 11.
Episode 11. Time's been flying by. We're on episode 30 already.
Wow.
Now. Yeah.
Episode 11. I'm glad you remember that. So let's put that link in the description. So he tells a little bit of his history, but he's from Ireland and just really loved the sport and moved here for this. And he truly is like more excited about the sport than I think I even am.
No, you're hardcore. Yeah. I wish I got to write as much as you.
But I'm not as much of a fan. Like, you're more of a fan.
I'm a fanboy. Yeah, even though I'm in the industry building engines and won a championship last year, won a race, I'm a fanboy. I really admit it. I love the sport and I like it.
And I love
couldn't
watching
agree with you more, man.
Yeah, Donnie's the same. Like,
I'm the same.
We go and we watch every race that's in town. Paula's my next one. Well, hopefully, if we're in the hunt for Salt Lake, I'll get a trip to that.
Hey, I got a motorhome spot.
For Paula?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
So come by, man.
I will. I definitely will. Yeah. So that's on my calendar.
Yeah.
That's one of the dates in there. But if we're doing good in the series, hopefully I get a trip to Salt Lake.
Yeah. Nice.
Are Jim and Scott staying with you in the motorhome?
I don't think so.
Didn't think so.
Now, Jim might stay, but I'll talk about it later. But yeah, I got a spot.
Nice. Yeah.
For Paula. Glen Helen's open that day. See, that's the thing is, I would go ride Glen.
He likes to ride more than watch. We can watch.
There's a term we call
watch one race, and then you have the rest of the year. There's 51 other weeks you can go ride dirt bikes.
No.
Yeah. You do it on Tuesday.
Every week could be your last week. Like it could be over. So you might as well just get as much in. So we have this term in the U.S. There's athletes and athletic supporters.
Yeah.
So you might have to explain to him what an athletic. You can tell him after the show, but I prefer to be an athlete, at least on those.
I'm
those
a mixture. Yeah, I'm a mixture. When it's in town, I go watch.
You're not an athletic supporter.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Just trust me.
All right. You'll tell me later then. Okay. This is an off-air discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's from our 70s and 80s. We had to wear them in gym class.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Remember? Did you have your PE teacher would check to make sure you had it on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You had to pull the strap. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It was the thing.
I'm feeling young. I don't know what this is.
It was a little strange, man. It was a little strange.
All right. So now, tell us your thoughts on this number 4 guy. This guy is the fastest guy.
Fastest guy right now.
Fastest guy in Supercross. And the last 4 weeks. Also, I picked him 3 weeks in a row. Then I finally gave up last weekend.
I didn't give up.
No, don't give up on the guy.
I've
We
stuck
know he's
with
got
him.
the speed. He's just got to get consistent.
I've stuck with him.
Okay, good job, Donnie. Yeah.
But it's costing you.
It's costing me. I'm low in the point.
But here's the deal. Like, so you have a rider and he's getting 5th place each week. How do you teach him to go fast? This guy has speed. That's the most important thing with dirt bikes.
Right.
You can't really teach somebody to go fast. He's got that part. He's got to figure out the rest. Yeah.
Dude, his shoulders. He looks like he could lift a dirt bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope he can get this turned around. Donnie and I were just talking about
8 rounds to go, so But hopefully we get a race to the end. It's going to be an exciting season.
And the points aren't as bad as it seems at 15. It's not a big deal. If you win 3 or 4 races,
you're right back.
It's right there. And there's no guarantee that Webb gets second every race. I mean, stuff can happen.
We're coming up to a lot of outdoor stadiums too, so it could be a total mud fest. And who you expect to do good is stuck in a rut or bike overheats. You never know.
We were hoping for some rain at Birmingham.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. It's raining this weekend. We looked at the weather, but unfortunately, it's not this weekend. It's next weekend. So
but there's a few like Seattle. You never know what happens there.
True.
That's the rainy city.
And they got an open stadium.
For sure.
Yeah.
They got an open stadium in a place that rains all the time.
Yeah, that should have been like last round, and hopefully May is sunny.
Seattle's depressing no matter what.
I have a daughter that lives up there. She loves that area because it's green.
Yeah.
But for me, it's
so it's California the last week after rain.
It's finally green. We'll have green for like 2 months, max, and that it's going to be it this year. So it's that part's nice. So you're getting ready for Mammoth. I'm excited for you.
2-stroke race first. That's my big goal. I gotta start riding that 2-stroke.
Are you okay with the 30-33?
No,
okay.
that's like not.
He's already
possible.
said no.
That's not possible.
He's already said no twice.
No. I'm not doing like the National Air and Hound series.
Just tell him he's got to ride number 30.
There you go. Yeah.
I got to ride 30.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm only going to do one moto.
But you got to make the numbers for me too. Thank you, Decal Works.
So I'm only going to probably
do white plates since it's an open class.
It's an open class.
We're
Okay.
not on a little baby black.
What bike is it? Is it a 300 or a 250?
250.
Okay.
250 gas. Yeah.
250 gas. At the Moto one or last year we had an Enduro.
Oh, Moto. Yeah.
Moto. Okay.
Yeah, Moto. Yeah.
All right.
We might even put a big boy rear spring on. I have some time this time. Usually the 2-stroke race, what happens is I borrow
the day before.
I borrow a bike on the Friday and then don't have time to go ride it. So I do 4 laps of practice and then line up on the gate. So I'm going to get to ride it once this time, which will be a plus. Yeah.
That's like
it's
a
hardcore.
That's a hardcore test session.
It's a race I can't miss. I just love being part of it, taking off the smoke, the noise. It's just a fun day out, and I try borrow a bike every year. To have one just for once a year is just not worth my while. Yeah.
And you like riding 125s too. It's fun, but only if you ride against other 125s.
If there was the 125/40 class, which there's not, and then there's like the Pasha class, which is really.
We're not going to go race against fast guys. No,
I'm not racing a Lessie.
Hey, I got a 2-stroke you can borrow.
What you got?
KX500, dude.
Oh, no way. I'm not man enough for that one. Yeah.
Spencer ripped it so amazing.
I watched the video of him riding it.
So there's a new video out right now.
It's so amazing.
Yeah. And
Spencer did a great job.
It just scared me.
I was out there that day at Glen Helen when you were riding.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah.
There was a guy yelling at us. That's another problem.
Oh, yeah.
Spencer was editing the footage. He goes, "It's just you yelling at this guy."
Yeah.
You got in a fight with some random person.
Because I asked him to move. I had my helmet on. So I will say that you're 33% tougher with your helmet on.
Yeah.
And which I'm not very tough.
Well, after that, he came yelling at me again. Right after, did you see that?
He was a nice guy. I think he's just having a bad day.
I do too.
All right. So hopefully maybe he doesn't watch. He watches a show. So
he doesn't know it's going to be him.
Right. All right, so I think that's it for the show, right? Got anything else, Donnie? You got any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so thanks, Spencer, for coming. Thanks to the best number 30 we know.
Yeah, I got like probably 5 minutes notice, and then I show up. Good job, Donnie lives close because first day he's like, "Can you be at Donnie's at 8:45?" I'm like, "For what?" I'm like, "Don't tell me we're working on a dirt bike. I just did it all day." That's what I thought. Put 4 watts.
I thought you'd assume that. that.
Yeah, that's what I was like. For what?
So I wrote back and said a little quick spot on our show and bring your number plate, kind of thing. It's number 30. So anyway, because I can't think of many other good number 30. You know who was that?
Ben Townley GPs.
Yeah,
he was number 30.
What about Craig Anderson? Was he 30?
Don't know that. Yeah.
Anyway,
there's been a lot of pro circuit guys had it over the years.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
Shimoda right now.
Yeah, Shimoda. Okay.
Yeah, everybody was probably expecting Shimoda as the special guest. Sorry, guys, you got me instead.
You're more important to us than Shimoda.
We're foreign. Me and him. He's Japanese. I'm Irish. So you got a different type
different
of
continents, but all right. Yeah.
All right, David.
Right,
let's
you're back in here.
David, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, David. David's knees don't bend well. You can leave your 30 up there. Put it. You can lay it down so Spencer don't. Yeah. I should get a picture of that.
We didn't do songs or anything like that either.
Yeah, we're gonna have to skip the songs.
Yeah, skip the songs. Let's just do these questions.
Sorry, I didn't bring CDs. This whole nighttime thing was so.
I like it, but I don't have to go anywhere.
Okay. Mark W says, "Jay, good show. I listen to your podcast at work. I've been on dirt bikes since I was 5, now 54. Recently bought a 2023 Husqvarna TC 250 Heritage. Sorry, I'm a die-hard two-stroke fan. Trail rider at heart, started racing hare scrambles and loving it. How about throwing some trail ride stories on the podcast? We have as much fun telling war stories as riding. Thanks. Keep the podcast coming.
Okay, so this is the guy that I mentioned earlier. So we're going to try to talk more about our trail rides. Spencer, can you think of the just quickest, funniest, or most frustrating story trail ride with Dad?
Anytime you ride one of his bikes up the hill?
You know, the first one was somewhat of a interesting story. It wasn't even on a dirt bike. It was on quads in Pismo.
Oh,
and
gosh.
at night, it blew up as far as you can get in Pismo dunes. And so I had to sit on the quad that was blown up while he roosted me for hours on end in the Pismo dunes at night on an LTR 450, pulling me through dunes on a blown up Banshee 200.
That must have been miserable.
And it was freezing.
Blaster.
It was freezing. It was
freezing cold. So that was the first time, because I was young. I was like 11, like really young.
If even that,
like maybe 10. And I was sitting on this Blaster 200, and he's on an LTR 470. I don't know if you put something.
It was big. It was a big one.
And with a quarter twist throttle.
Yeah.
I gotta leave.
He used to ride quads, dude.
Going to the quad?
He had a throttle twist quad. Yeah.
God.
I
thought these were like Pismo Beach rentals.
No, we had a couple because I did some projects with him and I got them really
Dirt
cheap.
wheels
They
or
were
somebody, right?
they were really good. They were really fast.
And we made good money on them all. And we just had them for a little while.
Yeah,
it was like a
sold them.
phase.
But that was the first time I did a ride that was an adventure war story with Jay, and then many more after that. Since then,
we did have one.
Which one?
We were with Ross up in Idaho.
In Idaho?
Just the three of us. There's this guy, Ross, really cool guy from Utah. We were up in Idaho. And we committed. Spencer was looking on a map, and we didn't have good Onyx then. We were just using some other thing. It was really hard. We get to the top of a mountain, and we commit to going down the other side because there's a trail on the map. Whatever we were using.
It was like a Venza or something random. It wasn't even Onyx. It was just some random map
and the trail was not there. There was no trail.
It said it was a hiking trail, and we were like, oh yeah, we can find a hiking trail. That was old.
It was just down trees. And
down
once
trees.
we committed, and we were going down the hill, and one of the bikes had a fan, and
it was a 350 SXF.
that's the problem.
It was a
an
350 SXF,
like a 16 or 17.
that had a fan and not headlight, but it had electric start, obviously. So it had multiple
and
things.
it was getting so hot that it was going to lose. So we had to disconnect the fan. I'm like, I don't care if it heats up because we're losing. We're not going to be able to start this thing because we keep. So then I put Spencer on that bike and I said, just don't stop. Okay, so he got on the bike and just kept going over logs and getting down the mountain, and we got to a road.
I put it in neutral and let it run against a tree, and I'd go back and help them, and then get to the bike and then take off again.
It was a loner
while I was running in neutral. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we didn't keep it.
So that was a tough one, and it took hours, and we were beat. And we were with Pierce Brown's dad and his group. They bailed off and knew better.
Yep.
So we pretended that it was awesome and epic, but it was brutal.
It was bad.
It was brutal. So we have learned once you cross 1 to 2 trees, there's no more 3 or 4 trees. It's 1 to 2 trees.
Done.
It's done. We're going back.
And if there's not a trail, we're not making a trail. Because with this ride, we were just thinking we're going to find the trail. Never found the trail.
So we've learned since then. We've been on trails, even on a dirt road, and they haven't cleared it yet that year. We get over one tree, we're like, nope, we're going back. Because we've done this through the snow and logs, and we got, remember, was that one, what's that place called? Woodlawn. There's this place we go, and we went out, we flooded a bike.
Yep.
Had to get it, we put 2 bikes together to get it started. Have you ever seen that done, David? So
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, so it was flooded. I was a 350. It was a 16 350 XCF. Mm-hmm. We get the other bike that runs. We put the 2 rear wheels together.
Oh, yes, you have.
And it's puking out water. First, we stood it up and got the water out of the pipe and out of the air filter. And then because we had nowhere to bump start it. There was no way we were going to get this thing started, you know? Yeah. And so we just spun it around and we got it started right away. Dude, started spinning the wheel and I just grabbed second gear and just clicked it up to second, goes whoop, and it started. And we rode it the rest of the day. So this river we've learned the size of river to cross. And so now if there's a gnarly river, I just say I'm walking it across. Yeah. Like if we
get your boots wet,
walk it across. Yeah. You just commit because it's either that or you're going to fall in, and so it's easier just to commit to walking it across. Mm-hmm. So All right.
There you go.
Well, there's some fun stories for
some
you.
good stories. Jeff M says, "Good morning, Jay. I absolutely love the videos and your podcast. You and Donnie and that are Spencer producing. I'm watching number 29, and you two are talking about riding desert MX tracks. Question came to mind as to what protective equipment do you guys use, and is it different depending on the type of riding you're doing? Thanks again."
Yeah, so really, we don't really wear much different gear. So he's asking about from motocross to off-road. A lot of guys wear elbow pads and shoulder pads and stuff. It's just too constricting for me, I feel like. David wears chest protector a lot. I only wear a chest protector on race days, usually if I plan on getting roosted. If I don't wear a chest protector, I'm much less aggressive and will not follow anybody. So I just let off. It's like that's my like limit is if I don't have a chest protector on, I'm not taking a roost.
About 2 or 3 years ago, I stopped wearing one. I wore one my whole life, and then I just. What happened was I think I forgot it like a couple days, and I'm like,
That's fine.
oh, I like this a lot better.
I don't like chest protectors because it's like a losing mentality. You're not going to be in first place, you know.
I like it.
Because if you plan on being roosted, that means you're not winning.
Right.
Ricky Bobby would not want you.
So with this logic,
no
David
tear-offs either.
No
No
tear-offs,
tear-offs,
David.
no chest protector. If Chase wants to win these races, no chest protector, no tear-offs. He's just like, hey, if I don't get first, I'm going to get last.
First is
Right.
last. I like this. Can you pass that on to the team?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We got some good advice here.
Sports therapist Spencer, sign me up.
All right.
Thomas N says, I get what you're saying, but I worry about spending a lot of money on a bike and not riding it if I don't like it. I should have retracted that budget statement. My bad.
Okay, so this guy was asking about. He's new to bikes, and he's asking. He's worried about. He had like $7,000 to spend on a bike, and he's talking about getting a bike, and then he starts to waffle a little bit. He's not sure if he's gonna like it. So you can read my response. What I wrote.
I read this response is pretty.
Yeah, haha. Do you like women? If yes, then you'll like dirt bikes just as much or more.
It reminds me of that meme of that guy asking questions.
Yep. That's a good one. Glenn says, "Good day, sir. I have a 23 gas EX 450F with brake tech, clutch, and brakes. The clutch is considerably harder to pull than the Brembos. Can I fix this issue with just replacing the clutch master cylinder with the Brembo one, or do I need to replace the slave cylinder as well? There's no information online anywhere. Your thoughts?"
Okay, so first of all, I wrote this guy, and I wanted to make sure we're comparing apples to apples. So, and David's been real helpful on this.
We've got an expert in the field right here.
So we've talked about this a lot because I go back and forth. So on motocross, so one thing that's interesting is that there are two different, for the most part, there's only two different master cylinders for the clutch on the KTMs. There's a 9mm piston and a 10mm piston. Right, David? Yes. And the 450s and 500s run a 10mm. And then the smaller bikes, the 350 and 250s, run a 9mm, has a smoother pull. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, you gotta make sure what you're comparing it to. And he was comparing it to his 350 XCF. So sure enough, it's got a 9mm piston, so it feels really light. I said, yes, so I wrote him, yes, you can buy a Brembo, it goes right on, no problem. I go, but if you buy a Brembo for a 450, like what he had, it's probably gonna feel pretty similar to his Brake Tech one. So I have switched some stuff from Brake Tech to Brembo, and the newer Brake Tech stuff is a lot better, but I still prefer the Brembo stuff. It's got a great feel, and maybe some of it's here, but I really like the feel of the Brembo stuff. So to answer your question, also, for whatever it's worth, there's a little trick to running the 450 Masters on like a 250, 350 for that stronger pull. On a motocross track, I really prefer the stronger pull. It also, clutches last longer. I'm not, even though because I'm kind of hard on clutches, with that stiffer 450 one. So now with the trail bikes and you're all day on the clutch, I prefer the smaller one, the 09. I kind of prefer it. The only place that it kind of stinks is when I'm doing those sand hill climbs. I do kind of smoke a clutch sooner if I have the 09 in. Spencer knows all this because we have to change clutches sometimes after.
I just look back. This thing has a cable clutch. I'm pretty stoked about that because bike we had last year was a hydraulic clutch, and we switched it out to a KTM system on the bike last year. And I'm like, that's great, and hydraulic clutch is great, but cable clutch.
The
on
number
this.
3 won't ride this bike if it doesn't have a cable clutch.
And I'm just saying.
Well, we're going to test both. I want to test the hydraulic clutch.
We can test it.
I think we test it and see. So I say we test it and see. And then there's also a spot for a fan. So
nice. I see the mounting.
Yeah, so that'd be
awesome.
Interesting, worth checking out. So
so
are we pretty much wrapped up?
Yeah,
that's a long show, great show. Sorry we don't have any music for you. Did you want to?
Yes, I'll you guys. Well, you guys are gonna get mad at my rating.
Which one?
This is just Def Leppard.
Let's do Def Leppard. Okay.
So I rated.
Hey, just so you know, we're going to see August 20th, I think it is, in at the Indian place.
Morongo?
No, what's it called? San Manuel.
San Manuel.
Okay.
Okay.
I ranked this is my top 5 Def Leppard albums.
Okay.
Okay. Pyromania is number 1.
Okay.
Nice.
And I
like that.
say best overall album.
Okay.
Then High and Dry is number 2. And I
Okay.
say it's my favorite.
Okay.
I understand. Hysteria is
Okay.
number 3. And I say it is the best 80s rock album.
Okay.
And then
I like that he's a category for each album.
And then I say Adrenalize number 4, probably I would say the strongest album from there on out. And then X Yeah, which is the best new album. So if you've listened to X Yeah, there's a ton they have some covers on there, and they have some experimental like demo songs that aren't anywhere else.
What year is that? Like 2015 or is it the 2000?
No, it's like 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like newer,
Okay.
but it's stuff they recorded before, like throughout the years.
Yeah.
So
I've
it's like a
been listening to more and more,
Yeah.
and some of the stuff that came out later is actually pretty good.
It's decent, and a lot of it was recorded in the early 2000s, and then they just haven't released it in a compilation till now. So,
Okay, thanks, Spencer,
Nice.
for contributing.
yep,
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, great show, good time. Let's get David to bed because it is a weeknight.
Yep.
He has to get right to work. We have to get up early and do some bike work, and then get to riding because there's wet dirt. It's going to rain again tonight, and then there's wet dirt. We have to go ride wet dirt tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.
I got Saturday.
Okay, so
There you go.
you could join
Saturday.
us. Okay, see you guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of cool stuff. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
peace.
Wiseco Piston has over 80 years of experience manufacturing pistons in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. Wiseco pistons are developed and proven through professional racers, teams, and engine builders, including factory Honda HRC, Club MX, DBTV, Twisted Development, and many more. Wiseco is rooted in supporting grassroots racers across the country. Wiseco has been a sponsor of Loretta's and GNCC Racing since their very first events. Wiseco has a piston to fit the needs of any type of rider, from reliable rebuilds to serious racers. Wiseco is still the piston expert. However, the brand has evolved and has a complete range of performance components, including engine rebuild kits, clutch and valve train components, crankshafts, gaskets, and more. Wiseco has all of your power sports machines covered, from dirt bikes to UTVs, ATVs to jet skis. Find what you need at wiseco.com or wherever you. We work with some great companies, and here's a list of those right now. Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, Wiseco Piston, Vinco Air Shocks and Dirt Bike Parts, FMF Exhaust, Decal Works Graphics, Pro X Racing Parts, Recluse Clutch Revolution, Motion Pro Specialty Motorcycle Tools, Works Connection, Uni Filter, Klotz Oil, Cometic Gasket, MX Plastics, JE Pistons, Cardo Systems, ODI Bars and Grips. And remember, if you shop Rocky Mountain, use our link from our site, Linktree, or link in description of the videos. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.